Educators often talk about how difficult it is to manage a very large school district, but what about those small school districts?
Well, tonight's Education Matters, Juanita Stevenson joins us with how a tiny school district in Fresno County is making the grade.
Well, if you are a very small school district, you may not have the winning sports team or all of the fancy equipment, but the Big Creek Elementary School District has something no other school district has.
Are you sure this is Manzanita? This doesn't look cool. Oh yeah, that is Manzanita.
This is the classroom for Big Creek Elementary's science project.
104.
Students mapping out a plot of land in the forest, identifying the vegetation.
I think it might be some wild rose.
Hoping to determine which plants are good for the forest and which needs to be removed to help prevent forest fires.
Many of us, this is where we choose to live in the forest. And being able to know how to properly maintain a forest is important for not only the health of the forest, but for our health too.
These students live and attend school in Big Creek, a community located 62 miles northeast of Fresno, nestled in the mountains between Shaver and Huntington Lakes. Their preschool to 8th grade school district is the smallest in Fresno County, 57 students in all.
Being small allows our kids to have a lot more various experiences.
Experiences like being able to pack up and conduct your science classes at the local museum. Students learning with the latest technology. Teacher Phil Young uses the area's natural surroundings and habitat as teaching tools.
And you can always find something interesting is probably the best part, something that any one of the kids will find interesting enough to get involved.
So instead of dissecting a frog or guinea pig, these students are examining the brain of a deer, an animal many of them see every day.
Some people might find it absolutely disgusting. I find it rather interesting that you get to see like what's inside the animal. Like you get to touch the brain, you get to poke the brain, you get to touch the eye.
Students do not only get to connect with their surroundings, but with each other. Madeline Waite is a transplant from a larger school district.
Well, at my elementary school, there was a lot of us, and now I feel like I've advanced more in my education because we're so small of a classroom and you have more time with your teacher, and I really like that.
Just how small is her classroom now?
There is 10 in our 6th, 7th, and 8th right now.
Students start taking Spanish in the 4th grade.
Un hombre y su gato.
And get the benefit of indoor activities such as archery and ceramics.
It takes out the seam from the mold.
And we don't know of any school that can boast of having its own indoor bowling alley. Superintendent Toby Waite says it's part of the original design, created to provide activities for a community landlocked by snow.
So when the school was built, it was built with that in mind, to provide opportunities, not just for the students, but for the community in the winter.
Despite what appears to be an idyllic situation, there are some drawbacks to being so small. Big Creek's funds come from property taxes, and it gets no money from the state based on the district's student population. It also doesn't qualify for much federal money.
We depend quite heavily on our community, on our parents. Our parents are extremely supportive.
And Waite, who went from working in the county's largest school district to the smallest, has to wear many hats. But it's a role he doesn't seem to mind.
What's the trade-off, though?
This, clean air, incredible setting. This is a quality of life. Kids can truly be kids. They do not have to grow up before their time, and that's what makes it so special.
Kids all know that.
Small school district like Big Creek do get help from the Fresno County Office of Education. It provides supports in the area of technology, their business department, and curriculum, because they're just not big enough to have those departments.
What kid wouldn't want to go to school there?
Which parent wouldn't want their kid to go there?
Kidding.
When there's a bowling alley inside the school, that's usually a pretty good
And the
draw.
class size is 10 students.
10 for 3 grades that they had. And you know, most of the kids, their parents do work for Southern California Edison. It was a town that grew up from the power companies, and Toby's lucky all 3 kids go to that school.
How about that?
Great report.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. We do